This is the heavy metal rebel Frankie Kazarian and almighty Christopher Daniels, collectively known as The Addiction. We are also world travelers, loved by millions, and we both have rears that makes the girls cheer.
You're listening to the Potsy and Tino show. Keep listening. And you have permission to worship us.
Now.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Pots and Pans Network proudly brings to you its tag team champions of the world, the Road Dogg, Tino Gray, the badass Rob Potsy Potchak. We are the Potsy and Tino show, and we are coming at you live. Ha-ha! Tino.
Yo.
Hopefully everybody can hear you on the intranet.
Can you hear me on the intranet?
I can hear you.
Cool.
But I'm gonna go to our chat and see. We do have at least one concurrent viewer at the moment. It's probably you watching from your phone. But let's go ahead and get the party started. You know how we like to do it. We like to do it with a little ditty we like to call
What's up with you?
What's up with you? So Tino,
Not a hope.
You're at home tonight.
Yes, I'm at home tonight.
The girls didn't.
I got an early day tomorrow. I can't mess around with you till 2 and 3 in the morning. I got to get up, and if I leave your house, normally we're done with this thing like at 1:30. By the time I get home, it's like 2:30, and I'm like, dude, I'm done. I'm done, and then I drag the rest of the day. So I'm like, nah, I'll do it from here this evening.
All right, that's good to know. Getting some feedback. You're gonna have to turn your phone off of sound.
Huh?
I said we're getting feedback.
My phone's on low. My phone's on low.
Well, can you hear me?
I think what might be happening is your microphone might be picking up the computer. My phone's not on. There's nothing going on my phone.
All right, then I'm gonna have to turn that down a little bit. How's that?
That's good on my end. Is it still echoing on your end?
A little bit, but I guess we're all right. No, I'm still getting feedback.
All right, hold on. Let me go grab some headphones. Maybe it's just around me. What do you think it is?
I don't know. It might be me. So I'll tell you what. Why don't you tell everybody what's up with you, and I'll go grab some headphones.
Yeah, Chris Baird said, here's some feedback. The mic is too hot. Not much is going on with me. Like I said, I got to be in early tomorrow, but I've been off the past few days. As you can see, I have not shaved, so I'll probably get in there and shave. I was thinking about letting all this stay in, but I'm like, that's way too much gray. And so you might shave it into a goatee. Well, I might not, but other than that, I've just been chilling at home. I finished Just Us 2, which was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I finished the first one last week, got the second one, finished it up today. It's not a bad play. I actually enjoyed it. What have you guys been up to? We want to hear from you. We want to say, hey, Chris Barrett, thank you for the feedback, Chris. I think you want to go get some headphones. We want to welcome you to the show. And here he comes. And he must not have been able to find any headphones.
Did not find any headphones.
I wonder if you think it's your mic?
I do think it's my mic.
Excuse me. Can you do it without it? Trying something. We're having technical difficulties, folks. But you guys, thank you again for bearing with us. And here we go. Say something. Can't hear you. No, can't hear you. That's a face only a mother could love right there. We're still playing with the with the program we got going on. Usually I would be there live with Rob, and we probably wouldn't have this much problems. But like I said, I am not trying to stay up till 1 o'clock, 1:30, then I have to drive 40 minutes. You guys don't realize it's like 40, 45 minutes for me to get from my house to Rob's house. And while I love Rob, I have to get some sleep so I can function, because I'm not a morning person and I will cuss you out. I don't do coffee. So I need to find some other time. Oh, I hear you now. What'd you do? Chris, we get any feedback from anyone? You think? I don't hear any feedback on my end. Yep. Yeah, there's no feedback other than your mic isn't hot. Which mic? Mhm. Can they hear me? It's the Tino show. I've finally taken over. My plot to rule the world has begun. I finally got rid of the man.
How about now?
That, I hear you. I think he said you need some of that R-Truth toilet paper.
At this point, I do think I need some of that R-Truth toilet paper. Chris, how about now? Can you hear me? I should be coming
The
through.
mic is hot.
That's
So
right.
when you're saying the mic is hot, Chris, are you saying that he's still getting feedback or you can hear him?
No, he means he can hear me now.
Okay.
I think we're good. I think we're up and running, Tino.
All right.
So, folks, these are the graphics that we wanted to show last week, and for whatever reason, we're not able to. And we are live on YouTube. Chris, Chris, see, here's what's funny. Tino is a musician, so he should understand what the mic is hot means.
Well, when I say the mic is hot, it means that it's like you're too much on it. It's got feedback coming out of it. The mic is hot.
Oh, okay.
So my thing when I'm testing the microphone is like, does my mic sound nice? And then my guys are saying yes. So
Gotcha.
so
So
yeah, the mic is hot, and what I do is two different things.
now at this point, Tino, it says that we've got 4 concurrent viewers. So I'm going to go ahead and state what I like doing here. If you're in the chat, please say hi. Don't be one of those folks that just watches from afar, stalking us. We don't like that. Chris Barrett
Okay.
says if it's too hot, it's got feedback.
Feedback. All right.
Well, normally when it's too hot, you don't get enough feedback, I guess, like in real life. But anyways, with that,
Well, why you on?
So Tino, you were saying that you have an early day tomorrow, so that sucks. It obviously is why you're in the green room and I'm in the Scrudio.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can actually raise this chair up a little bit to get myself a little bit taller. There we go. But nothing really going on with you.
Now, like I said, I was telling them while you were gone, I've been off the past few days, which is why I haven't shaved. And I was like, I was gonna keep it, but I'm looking at it now on the camera like this. It's like that's way too much gray. I don't like that at all. I might shave this off and do like the goatee like I had before, just leave that there, or I might just shave it all off. I don't know.
Well, you could always do the color in the beard. Some of us don't have to. It just doesn't go gray. But it's one of those few things that I've got working in my favor. Um,
Oh, that's because I'm a real man.
oh, wait. So a real man that can't grow a full beard but can grow that little like red fox stubble, and you're the real
Oh, I
man.
can grow a full. I can grow a full beard now. I just choose not to. If I've had this where it's bush, it's bushy, but I'm not. I don't like it. My wife doesn't like a beard, so I'm
So
like this is driving her crazy.
So I know something that's going on with Tino, and I wanna talk to you about something that you did this week. You played The Last of Us 2 and you finished it, right?
That's what I was just telling them while you were away. Yeah, I finished the first one last week, and I just finished the second one today. And I texted her. I'm like, "What you?" Because last week you were saying like, some people was it last week or week before, and I was talking about getting it. You're like, yeah, they didn't like the second half of the game, and I was asking you why.
Yeah. So
Because
so so apparently, this is one of those things where the fans of the game just did not like the idea of having to play, and unfortunately we may spoil it for some folks that haven't played it yet. Um, the You have to play as a character in the game that you don't feel emotionally attached to, and with as emotionally attached as Naughty Dog had you feel in the first game with Joel and Ellie, having to play as that other character in the second game, especially after the heinous act that occurs earlier in it, it's quite jarring to a lot of the players, and they review shamed it on Metacritic and everything else. They did a lot of stuff with it that kind of made people upset with what went on there, and because of that, it's really not getting the credit it deserves, because the game itself, and Tino, you've now played it, it really is a masterpiece in terms of graphical, sound editing, the voice acting, the motion capture. I mean, like every single aspect of it is just top notch stuff, and yet for whatever reason they've they've basically slut shamed the game on online, and said that it's not the game that the audience wanted.
yeah, I didn't mind it so much because you actually got to see that character's side of what happened and why they reacted the way they did and their side of the story. I actually didn't mind it. And you actually saw a turning because that character was so hard this way, and you actually saw a softening of that character, to where at the end it's they weren't the same person that they were when the game started, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
No, I agree. They definitely went, and it's funny because that character went through that change of personality traits and everything much faster. But the I guess the reason behind that is because what it's showing, and what that game really tried to put out there for everybody, was that everybody isn't incessantly evil, and everybody's not incessantly good, right? They all have different
Reasons.
reasons behind it. Um, I didn't necessarily care for uh, the heinous act, and how it occurred, and how over the top it really was.
Yeah, I
But
didn't appreciate that either.
but when you take into account like what that character had gone through, it is one of those moments that just kind of kind of really showed what a different kind of world that was going to be. Like knowing that it's a post-apocalyptic world, knowing that there's creatures out there that with just one bite can really change the course of civilization. So I told you after I played it, I felt that it was uh, a very jarring game, but also like I said, it was a masterpiece. I've claimed, and I've told everybody, kind of like Death Stranding from Hideo Kojima last year, that this game will probably win every major award except for Game of the Year.
I agree with that one. It was so good. I've actually, when I finished it, I
You
went
went right
back to
back and
play.
started playing again, didn't you?
I played the first one. I'm gonna play the first one, then I'm gonna go back and play the second one again. I mean that it was, but they were that good. It was on a lot of the gameplay reminded me of the Uncharted series.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
with the little little differences, little torques here, little
Well,
tweaks here and there.
it was written by the same. It was done by the same
Yeah.
people that do the Uncharted series. So um,
And I appreciated that.
so yeah, so you got to play that, you got to check that out. So you had a good time with it, and now you're going through and playing it again, huh?
Yeah. I'll probably play it again at some point. I do want to go out and I want to check out I want to look at it a little bit more, but I want to check out the Marvels, the Avengers ones that you and I were talking about. I do
Yep.
want to, and I was looking at some of it online and some of it YouTube, and it looks like it's pretty interesting. It's like it plays pretty smoothly.
So
Um,
it I actually hopped on YouTube last night. I don't think anybody joined me. Uh, but I hopped on YouTube last night to give my opinions of it. I actually beat the single player story in it yesterday, and felt that it was solid. I love the team that developed it. It's made by Crystal Dynamics. They're the ones that make the Tomb Raider series. Um, so it was something where I felt that anybody that really wanted to feel like one of the Avengers kind of gets to the disappointing thing that I found about it was that you only faced off against like the Taskmaster, which you got to do in the beta, and then one major character at the end. And other than that, you just faced off against these synthoids and all these weird characters that really weren't, you know, supervillains. So hopefully with all the downloadable content they've got planned for it, they're going to drop in some supervillains from the Avengers, so that way we can actually face off against Ultron, or we can face off against, Kang the Conqueror, or any of these really cool villains that they've created over the years. At the same time, that's what I did this past week in my free time. I also rewatched Cobra Kai season one again. If you haven't watched it, I give it both of my thumbs up. The Orange Cassidy style, like this.
we Nicole and I started watching it with Matthew. We watched the first couple of episodes,
Not
and then
exactly for children.
and we didn't know this
Yeah,
until we watched that first episode, and we're like, okay, maybe not.
yeah, it really doesn't drop a lot of f bombs or anything else, but it does drop them here and there, and they violently. The show is very violent with the karate, but Tino, I gotta tell you, man, like you watch something like that and you seriously, and Chris Barrett and anybody else that's in the chat, I've already said, if you're in the chat on YouTube, please don't be shy, say hi. But I never thought that I would want a Karate Kid direct sequel TV series, but now that I've got it, I need season three. Like, I need it. Like, the first season is so good. Like, it has no right to be that good. Straight up, does not have the right to be that good. There is no reason why I should care so much about William Zabka, and even a little bit with Ralph Macchio. Like they gray the areas between those two characters so well that you don't know who you're supposed to root for, you don't know who you're supposed to cheer for, you don't know who you're supposed to hate, because from time to time you hate both of them, from time to time you love both of them. Um, and the only person on the entire show that I absolutely do hate is Machio's son on the show. Like, that kid is a little prick that I just want. I want him to get karate kicked in the face.
Wow,
Yeah, I've said it.
I haven't gotten that far yet. I've only seen like I said, first, I think it's like first two episodes. I've seen his daughter. I haven't seen his son yet.
When you see his son, you are gonna be like, I feel so bad for Ralph Macchio because of that kid. Like,
Wow.
yeah, because the daughter is like exactly what you expect a teenage daughter to be. Like you and Haley have a certain relationship. You're not always on good terms. You're not always on bad terms. But overall, there's a lot of love there between the two of you, and that's really how you feel with Daniel and Samantha. But yet, when you see the son, you're like, I just want to throw this kid into the pool. Trust me,
Okay.
when you watch it, you're gonna think the exact same thing. So,
Okay.
Chris Barrett also says Billy Zabka is the real hero. He won that tournament in the first movie due to an illegal crane kick that Machio does. Yes, yes, they even discuss that at least one point. Chris Barrett, they definitely do discuss the fact that the crane kick was an illegal move, and it leads to some fun moments between him and Larusso. When I originally heard about this series, Tino, and we're 20 minutes into the show already, and we haven't even like gotten to the meat and potatoes of what we always talk about. But when I first heard about this show, it was for a series, a thing called YouTube Red, which they've kind of just went away from now. Now the show's obviously on Netflix, but originally I heard that it was supposed to be like a comedy, and you can definitely tell that there's moments of humor. Like sometimes it doesn't come off right, like when Daniel sits there and goes, "Technically, I kicked his face." Like you don't. It's not really good comedy in moments like that. But then there are other moments like the fact that Johnny hasn't figured out the internet by the time 2020 roll, 2017 or 2016 or whenever this was originally supposed to take place.
Oh, he's still living in the '80s, listening to hairband music in the car.
But hey, whoa, that's okay. We can still do that. Like I've got XM radio. I can listen to 80s on 8. But but you're right. He's
Look at
he's
Chris. Look
driving
at
around.
Chris.
He's driving around in the oh, Chris wants to know what we think about Wobbly Roll. He is on our list of topics tonight, Chris Barrett.
He was
So
my
so
favorite.
so you
Oh my
may you
god.
may have to stay with us for a good long while tonight, but he is definitely on our list of topics of things we will get to as
He
we.
was my absolute favorite.
I mean, it, when they announced that they. Tino, are you listening to us on YouTube again? Because I'm getting
No,
feedback all of a sudden.
no.
Interesting. All right, I don't hear it anymore, so we'll just keep going. That was so weird. Uh, Now I'm hearing it again. Check to make sure that your phone didn't suddenly just start playing sound. If it's on YouTube from time to time, it does do stuff like that. Okay, I don't hear it anymore. We're
The
just gonna
volume's
go.
off.
We're just gonna go. So other stuff that happened with me this week, Tino. We've got about a week left on the Indiegogo project. If you can support it, folks, please do. Indiegogo, search Junior High Horrors. It's a coloring book. It's got some awesome artists actually working on it with me, and something that we definitely would love to see get some more funding before it runs out. We've got a decision to make about what exactly we're gonna do. Since we will probably still see that funding come to us, and what we can do with that. So going from there, I am looking at condos, townhouses, and maybe even single family homes. As you know, Tino, I sent you a picture of one today, and
Dude, that was awesome.
by 5 o'clock today, it was already sold. So so and Tino's reaction to that was, to you, and I said,
Yeah, 'cause you said it closed or something. You were like, it's,
it was
and I'm like, oh, yeah,
it was under contract.
that was it. And I'm like,
And
damn, you moved quick.
well, and unfortunately, with the price range I'm looking at, you apparently have to move quick, as we can see here now. So that's was kind of disappointing. um and as such, back to the drawing board on it. There are a couple I'm looking at. I'm also looking at a couple apartments just in case I can't find something within the first 12 months or whatever. uh Chris Barrett says, I got Spotify. If I want to blast Motley Crue while speeding past an ex's house with the windows down in my car, I will. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. Except, are you playing girls, girls, girls? Are you, what
Wow.
Motley Crue song are you playing, Chris Barrett? I've got to know. Uh,
Smoking in
uh,
the boys' room.
Smoke. Was that they remade that song, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah. So, but Tino, I think that we are at time. We have got to move to some of these topics. So
there we got to
let's
do it.
go ahead and talk about
Super Tuesday.
NXT Super Tuesday. I'll let you man the chat while we discuss this.
All right.
First of all, I'm going to tell you right now, I absolutely loved the fact that they started where they finished the previous episode. They went right in, right from the beginning. Finn Balor versus Adam Cole, baby. Bullet Club for the NXT Championship. Bleacher Report got this wrong. They said that whoever won was going to be the first ever two-time NXT champion. They were actually the third two-time NXT champion. That's right. Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa Joe
Samoa Joe.
were the two. Interestingly enough, we will probably ask Tino's favorite question about Samoa Joe later. No, we won't, because he was nowhere to be seen tonight. Although I was expecting that he was going to show up, but Tino, let's talk
I think he
about.
was there.
He wasn't there.
I think he was. You just didn't recognize him.
Oh. So he was playing the role of Dabakato.
Either that or he was one of the men in black.
I don't think so. Now it's possible. I mean, if they're gonna do that, he would be a good mouthpiece for that group. But tonight I think it was pretty obvious when they had, and obviously we're gonna talk about this, but when they had their moment, uh, you could tell that it was Dijakovic and Mia Yim
Me and
were
him.
were two of them, and I was kind of hoping we were gonna get Keith Lee to turn and be part of them tonight, because that really would have, it wouldn't have made storyline sense. But could you imagine if all of a sudden, like he looks like he's going to help Drew out, and then when everybody starts crowding the ring and he looks like he's going to fight them, he turns around and he's the one that plows into Drew in the back? That
Well,
would
it
be
could make
great.
sense because him and Dijakovic do have a friendship, have so they could still do that.
They could, although he did wipe them out with that plancha over the top rope.
Yeah.
So, um, but let's get
I mean,
back.
they
Let's
beat the crap out of what's his name, and he still joined the
Yeah,
uh
yeah,
group last
yeah.
week.
Well, we will get to Raw. It'll be 12:30 by the time we do, but we'll get to Raw. Let's go
Barrett
ahead and
Barrett
let- let-
Barrett said Samoa Joe is out ruining careers.
well, it could be worse. He could be the writers of injuries. Um,
Oh God.
so Super Tuesday. What a way to start that broadcast. I mean, you got a 30-minute match between two of the best in the world. Finn Balor finally looking like one of the best in the world again. I mean, like without a doubt, he put everything on the line. I love the fact that the coup de grace is not his finishing move anymore. I don't like that he uses it still. He's gonna break an ankle and he's never gonna be able to walk again. Uh,
It's gonna kill somebody, crush a sternum too.
well, he's not very big though, so like most people can bounce something off of a sternum, but but what a match. I mean, like I so far that and especially without a real crowd there, that was probably one of my favorite matches I've seen all year since the Carino thing has taken over.
Now, my next question though, at the end of that match, it kind of looked like Cole was babyface, doing a little, almost babyface at the end of that match, and very
So
complimentary of Finn. So I'm wondering if we are looking at a face turn coming up for Mr. Cole.
I do think that this was the beginning of a baby turn for Adam Cole. It also wouldn't surprise me if you see him align himself with like a Finn Balor down the line. But I think that what we'll probably see with him is we'll see him turn full babyface, maybe even go against the three members of the Undisputed Era, and then be called up to one of the other rosters. It's funny that NXT has kind of cemented itself as its own brand at this point. Obviously, with Johnny and Tommaso being like the cornerstones that don't want to be called up, right? But at the same time, we still call it a call up when we think that the best show is NXT. So it's really interesting that we're calling people up to other shows rather than calling people down to NXT where they could possibly be even better in the long run. Like
And they've done that. They did look at Breezango, look at Finn Balor. I mean, they have brought people, I guess, call them down, as you say, but I think it's for the best. I mean, they are doing more with Fandango on NXT than they were when they were in the main roster.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting too because they were talking about how Fandango, this is actually his first major championship. So, Chris, you are right. I have not watched the match where I guess you're saying that Bret Hart had his sternum broken by Dino Bravo. I've also not watched the match where Hulk Hogan had his leg broken by Masato Tanaka, if I remember correctly, way back in the day. But it is what it is. That there's definitely people out there that do not wrestle as safely as they probably should, and that
Oh no,
unfortunately.
he broke Hogan's leg on purpose.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I've heard the story. I've totally heard the story where Hogan had his leg broken because he was green and he just wanted to teach him a lesson, and he
Yeah,
Hogan, Terry Bollea ended up losing a year of his career because of it. So, um, now not only did we get the amazing opener, the bottom half of the Oreo cookie. We got some cream on the inside of that. We got a Thatch can moment where Timothy Thatcher wanted to make sure everybody knew that he will be next in line for Damian Priest's championship. We got a couple other things. We got Shotzi Blackheart and Io Shirai getting into it a little bit, and then of course Shotzi holding the title up, saying, "Maybe I want to be next." And then of course we got the
Rhea
other
Ripley.
we got the other Oreo cookie. We got a steel cage match between Mercedes Martinez and Rhea Ripley, and they tore that
It,
shit up.
dude, I watched that match twice.
Yeah,
That, that I mean, that was that that was a perfect. That was perfect.
it it
That was perfect.
it was really one of those moments where you see exactly how talented some people are. Like I didn't know that Mercedes Martinez could have a match like that.
Well, I think it goes along too. I don't want to say. Well, I think Rhea carried that match,
Of
so
course
I
she
think
did.
Rhea made her look good. Rhea
Rhea
made her look good.
Rhea is a different breed of an animal, okay? And she is, and not to say that lovely young lady is an animal. She is a beautiful woman. But she is also a monster in that ring, and she is going to, as long as she has longevity by not getting hurt, not
Yeah, she
hurting
stays healthy.
others. She stays healthy. She is in for a Charlotte Flair like career. Now Vince is probably already a little against the look of her, because
Why?
because Vince. I mean, who are Vince's two favorite female wrestlers?
Charlotte and Alexa. But you can't. But if he does that, that's going to be vanilla. Nobody's going to watch that. They want you. You got to be different. You can't have the same cookie cutter superstars.
Hey,
They're not kitties anymore.
I agree with you, but
Well,
Vince.
he's going to lose to AEW. He keeps that bullshit up.
I'm going to point out that while Chris Jericho likes talking about his million viewers, and Tino, thank you for going ahead and giving us a nice little segue there to the next one. AEW hitting 1 million viewers on Wednesday night unopposed without NXT there. Let me go ahead and say that Sasha and Bailey still hit 2.3 million viewers on Friday night. So we will,
Wow.
and that was the week before that, and of course we got information about that. But let's, so when you sit there and you talk about losing to AEW, that's not happening right now with your two biggest programs and your biggest stars. You don't have your biggest stars on NXT. You also don't have them in the Thunderdome. I think that if we had NXT in the Thunderdome, we would actually see ratings go up partially because people would want to see what that atmosphere was like when you actually have the crowd chanting for Adam Cole, baby. You know what I mean? Like right now, the crowd that Vince has in the audience there, or Triple H has in the audience of NXT, doesn't know if they're supposed to cheer him or not because he's a heel. So they don't know if
Mhm.
they're supposed to sit there and give him the same reaction that they always give him, what the crowd actually gives them when they're actually live in front of a full audience. So I hope that they make the decision that NXT gets the same treatment as everybody else. But I almost wonder if Triple H is sitting there saying, we don't need gimmicks, we just need good wrestling. And he's been putting on really good wrestling, and they're still not beating AEW in the ratings. They've beaten them a couple times, like when they had Adam Cole versus Keith Lee. But even that, the end of that match was already sold to the audience from someone leaking it on the internet. Terrence in the building with the rest of the villains, hopefully, and he says he loves the new graphics, Tino. So,
Thank you.
so
That
thank
is
you
that is
for
all
that,
that is all Paul Potsy.
Paulie. That's all,
Yeah, I don't know
Paulie.
why I was thinking Paulie.
Yeah, but thank you, Terrence. We tried to have these graphics up last week. I really had to finagle to get them up there on the YouTube this week. We're not doing anything conventional. I have 3 different screens going on my computer right now to be able to look at the chat, to be able to have the entire broadcast going on, and of course to have both of us not in the same studio. Like being able to have this broadcast going. So I really appreciate you saying that you like the graphics. I did put some good work into them. For anybody who has not subscribed or followed on YouTube and Twitch, please do. We are not live on Twitch tonight. One of these days, I will figure out how to get us back on both of those. Um, Chris Barrett says in the chat, honestly, the reason why AEW hit 1 million viewers was because of Miro. AEW uses gimmicks to get views. It's the WCW effect. And here's
But I don't know. I don't know if it was because Miracles. I don't think it was leaked that he was going to be on. So I don't know if that had anything to do, and it may have had a little bit to do with it. But I would think it probably. Well, they don't count because they don't do replays.
Well, here's what's
But
interesting about it.
excuse me,
Well, they do replays, and by the way, the NXT replay actually did outdo the AEW replay, by the way. But
when did they
and
do the NXT replay is on the network? But
no,
where's the
it was on
AEW replay?
Sci-Fi. Believe it or not, it was on Sci-Fi this week.
Really?
Probably because they weren't able to show NXT on USA. I think they moved it to Sci-Fi. It did 140,000 viewers for the replay. By the way, I'm sorry, Impact Wrestling did 104,000 viewers, which was their lowest rated episode, um, basically since we saw all the wrestlers start showing up in April or July, I
Wow.
guess, when they started showing up. So their lowest rated episode, and it's not even saying it was a bad episode. From everything I'm reading and seeing, because I don't have access television,
It was a good
um,
episode.
it was apparently a good episode. But AEW crosses 1 million viewers. We get Miro, the best man. I'll let everybody know, interestingly enough, that entire segment was only 4 minutes of the broadcast. So
Yes,
thinking,
and
and I say that meaning the entire Miro coming out, doing his speech, and being done. Obviously, Kip Sabian did have about another 6 minutes or so there where they did the "Rock, This Is Your Life" moment, and I I got to tell you, I wasn't blown away by that. I was almost thinking, okay, this is kind of funny. And who was that dude with the freaking mullet? I mean, that thing was like,
that's Brian Pillman Jr.
was it?
Yes,
Oh
that's Brian
wow,
Pillman Jr.
he's
The
bigger
big
than his
jack dude
dad.
with the mullet.
Yeah, yeah, he's
He
bigger than
looks
his
like his
dad.
dad. If you look,
But he looks like his dad. Yeah, well, his dad had the full like,
yeah,
lion mane.
that's Brian. Yeah, that's Brian Pillman's kid.
Wow. And who was the other guy?
I have no idea. The bigger. I don't know who that was.
Yeah, and I did like I said, I found that segment funny, but now I'm hearing that Miro is going to use this best man gimmick, and it's supposed
I
to
don't
be like,
understand it.
and it's supposed to be like a Mr. Perfect style gimmick.
And he's still got. If you notice, he still has the red and green, the Rusev colors that he had.
Well, if you
I guess that's the
notice,
Russian color.
the crowd was sitting there chanting, "It's Miro
Miro
Day!
Day.
It's Miro Day!"
And what's up with the blonde? The
I don't know, but I'm gonna break my
cornet. I
own.
was listening to corn.
I'm gonna break my own statement here, where I said we're gonna talk about something later, and I have to ask you right now, while we were talking about AEW, was the treatment of Lana tonight in response to what happened with Miro coming out with AEW last week?
100%. You know, Vince is a vindictive some bitch.
Like
So yeah, she's gonna catch heat. She's gonna catch heat for that shit.
she's catching Dominic Mysterio style heat.
Hmm.
Like oh, your dad is gonna force me to sit there and give him a better contract and make me push you. Okay, well you're gonna take your licks, kid. Like Lana's $500,000 a year contract. She paid dividends tonight.
Yeah, I hope she can get her back broke.
Terrence is in agreement with us. He's saying that yep, they definitely. He's speaking like a Canadian. Yep, but but he's also in agreement. So Tino, we got the Miro segment. We got a Matt Hardy coming out and thanking everybody. Do you think this was him just taking it on his own chin for the mistake that was made at All Out, and instead of blaming Tony Khan or Sammy Guevara, he came out to sit there and say, "Thank you, fans. I do it for you."
Yeah, and you also noticed that his wife was in there because his wife, if you went to on Twitter, she was not happy with AEW, and she let them know that she wasn't happy. And yes, they should have stopped the match. I didn't see All Out. I just, so when I saw the replay, yeah, they should have stopped that match. This man fell off the top of a forklift, threw a tape, missed a table, and hit his head on concrete. He could have killed himself. He could have broke his neck or his back, but they chose to
Or his
continue
neck
that
and his
match.
back.
Huh?
Or his neck and his back.
Shut up.
And then
So,
of course, the only other thing that I want to really mention, we've got the best friends versus LAX this coming week, and they're not going to be hugging it out this time, Tino. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Chucky T and Chuck's moms out there cheering them in the crowd during this match, because and in fact
in a brand new minivan.
taking them over there and having them slap the piss out of the out of LAX. I just think that's gonna be that's gonna be something funny to watch. But obviously they are pissed off best friends now. They're not happy at all. Chris Barrett
And if
dropped
you
an F.
notice, there's a change. There's a change in the way that Orange Cassidy wrestles too. He's a little more aggressive as well.
I think that with Orange Cassidy, they realize that his sloth gimmick can only go so far. So they've got to do something with him where sure he's gonna do his sloth moves of meh. I'm just gonna come out. I'm not gonna take my shirt off. I'm not gonna take my jacket off. I'm just gonna wrestle and and then all of a sudden have those moments where he just jumps up and so I'm gonna go to the
See,
chat
Chris,
real quick. I'm gonna go to the chat real quick. Chris dropped an F bomb, which required me to approve the chat message. By the way, um,
oh, really?
yeah, he says Miro screwed over his wife by going to AEW. He didn't think it over because she's the breadwinner in that house. I don't think so. I think his YouTube and Twitter, or I'm sorry, YouTube and
Twitch.
Twitch channels are probably doing enough to
Yeah.
bring them money, especially since Lana was the one that got everybody in trouble in the WWE for that, and now Miro is going to take that to the bank. Matt Lowkey said "F you" to Tony Khan by going out and saying thank you to the fans for calling out the Tony Khan, blatantly putting Matt in a life or death situation. I don't think it was Tony Khan that did that. I think Matt and Sammy came up with that match, ran it through, and apparently even had a stunt coordinator look at that spot, and Sammy botched it. Sammy has been very, very um,
Clumsy. This is the second time he has messed Matt up. The first time was a couple of weeks ago when he threw that chair in Matt's head and busted him open really, really bad. Sammy is, I think, is getting a little full of himself. He's not.
I
He's not.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with you, Tino. I think that Sammy needs to almost do what people are now saying about Nia Jax, where Nia was very very clumsy in the ring, and now she's taking much better care of people because she doesn't want to just keep her job on her family's reputation. She actually wants to be a better wrestler and a better performer. Whereas Sammy, granted, he was gone for a month because of dumb comments he made back in 2016. But when he came back, they threw him right into a strong angle. They threw him right into a big spot. Obviously, they think Matt is definitely bigger than mid card quality, so they throw him in with Matt. Matt wants to have these hardcore style matches with him, and Sammy goes high on that spear, which causes them to overshoot the landing. Now, they apparently tried this move twice beforehand and nailed it. So I'm not sure why Sammy would come up under this part instead of hitting in the belly where he was supposed to. Where
Unless he tripped. It looked like he slipped or tripped.
it's always possible. I mean, but obviously these guys are pro wrestlers, and
Hmm.
that
I mean,
wasn't
accidents happen.
that wasn't a pro wrestling ring, right? So this
No.
isn't where people stay healthy. It's amazing that someone like Tommy Dreamer, who was talking about this and actually talking about how Sammy botched it, has never had a surgery for any of the things that happened during his destructive career. Pretty,
Wow.
yeah. Consider now he says that Eric Young broke his nose this the past couple weeks, but still, broken nose, like you can, like if it's broken in a certain way, you can reset it, but you're not gonna go have surgery for it. You're just gonna have someone set your nose for you. So even that, like that's not something that we really have to look at. Now, finally, Tino, on here, I've got Cody Rhodes. Um, I don't
That's the
like
dumbest
I don't like that they did a vignette for him or an interview or whatever the hell it was. Like, what was that?
for a TV show.
Yeah, I just I didn't like
And
it.
the show looks dumb.
Yeah,
It's America Got Talent.
yeah, I didn't like it. Like and it breaks the kayfabe of him getting his ass whipped. Like I do you remember the night that I told the story of how I stopped watching wrestling?
Yeah, it's been a while ago, but yeah.
Okay, so for those out there that don't know this story, the thing that made me when I was like 13 years old stop watching wrestling was the fact that Earthquake kept doing the Devastator or whatever he called it to Hulk Hogan's chest, and Hulk Hogan
It's
was
called the earthquake.
it was called the earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
So he did.
Because
So it was
when he jumped
it was
around there, it
basically
was
the
the
splash.
tremors.
Yeah, he did the sit down splash on him, and he always landed on Hogan so soft that it looked like he was trying to make sure that he barely touched him, right? But anyways, WWF at the time is sitting there talking about how Hulk Hogan needs the fans and needs your prayers, saying your prayers, eating your vitamins, going to church, being good to everybody, doing everything that a good Hulkamaniac would do, and he needed your messages sent to him, right? So me being like a 13-year-old kid who didn't really know that wrestling was fake at the time,
You mailed a letter.
I mailed a letter.
Uh,
Now, I mailed a letter, and then all of a sudden, I see something on TV where it's an advertisement for Hulk Hogan's movie. And I'm like, you gotta be effing kidding me. Like, I just sent that guy a letter and he's out in Hollywood just making movies. This shit must
yep.
be fake. This shit must be fake, Tino. And I literally just went, I'm done. I am not watching this shit anymore. Like
Then what happened?
I didn't believe everybody who told me the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus were fake. I didn't believe that at the time. I wanted to believe that they were real. I wanted to catch Santa Claus in the act, bringing my presents down. Wanted to know how a fat man got down a damn chimney. I almost dropped an F bomb right there. But
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you,
Terrence says you never stopped watching wrestling.
that's not true. I stopped watching for about 3 years, and
And then what happened?
all of a sudden, one night, actually it's probably more like 4 years. I think I was 17, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and I see Hulk Hogan beating the ever loving shit out of Rowdy Piper, and it was on Monday Nitro. And Rowdy Piper was doing all these vignettes from Alcatraz,
Alcatraz. Yep.
and I was like, what the hell is going on here? And I would try to watch Monday Night Raw, and I was like, I don't know who any of these people are. I know Bret Hart, I know Shawn Michaels, I know The Undertaker. I don't know anybody else. Like, who the hell are these guys? So I kept switching back over to Monday Nitro, and I would watch Monday Nitro, and I was getting like jacked up on the idea of this NWO going, how the hell did Hulk Hogan turn evil? Like, I love it, but how did it happen? Why is Ric Flair the good guy? Why is Sting coming down from the rafters as the Crow, which was one of my favorite movies at the time? Like, what is going on here? Like, who the hell is Kevin Nash in the first place? I think I remember Diesel, but who the hell is he? And why is he not doing the whole woo woo? Like, and before you know it, I'm sitting there watching both of them, and I started realizing that while the undercard talent of WCW was actually putting in 100% effort on a weekly basis, I then started watching Monday Night Raw because I felt like the Attitude Era was taking off. I started watching ECW because I was like, what is all this stuff? I started buying. I didn't buy videotapes like everybody from the 80s talks about buying all the Japanese videotapes, but I did start buying everything I could on DVD of Cactus Jack, Terry Funk, Sabu. I mean, like I was hooked at that point. And now Chris Barrett actually says in the chat it's because Hulk Hogan has always been evil. No, he's been a shrewd businessman, but Linda Hogan was probably the actual evil one out of that family. Like she is just evil. Um,
Yeah.
he was you're right, Chris. He also wasn't just in Hollywood. He was 10 minutes away from his house filming movies, and that was probably in Florida at the time actually, because he needed to be close enough to Atlanta to be able to be at Monday Night Nitro to compete against the WWF still at the time, I believe. So that's how I got back into it. But okay, that was quite a tangent. Tino, we need to go ahead and get moving because you got an early day tomorrow. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna let you tell me what you felt about Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns Jey Uso promo.
I thought it was still. I still can't tell if Roman is heel. I know he's with Heyman, and I know he is supposed to be heel, but he's not saying much, and he's. I see it coming. He's going to turn on Jay, and he's going to. Well, I'm gonna drop that bomb. He's gonna mess Jay up, but right now he's still. I can't tell if he's still trying to pull Jay in to okay join me, or pull Jay in and think we're cool, and then drop the hammer on him.
So I'm telling you that what's gonna happen here is it's gonna come down to Roman's gonna get in that ring with Jey Uso at Clash of Champions, and he's gonna say, "Get on your back," and Jay's gonna say no, and that's gonna be when he sits there and he goes, "Oos, it ain't your time. It ain't your time. This is my time. I already told you I need this belt. You don't need the belt. You can stand by me, and you can reap all the benefits, but you're gonna lay down, or I'm gonna make you lay down." And that's when Jey Uso is gonna get a push as a real singles wrestler here because I think Jey Uso is going to stand up to him. Now we've already talked about this. We talked about it last week. We think that it really means that maybe they're trying to work on cousin Dwayne to come back at WrestleMania. I'm not sure, but I would like to see it. Maybe the reason why we saw Braun Strowman on Raw tonight was because they decided to move Samoa Joe over to SmackDown. Maybe that's
And what's going on with Otis and the briefcase? I mean, that's a comedy act between him and Miz and Morrison about who's the lunchbox, and I don't understand that. But they did move Mandy to Raw.
they did they did.
What does
And
that mean? What
I
does that mean
don't
for him?
know. It's disappointing that they would move Mandy like that, but maybe they feel like they've got enough talent on the women's side on SmackDown that they can move Mandy over to Raw and actually maybe give her a push. With Sasha and Bailey being the top two, and then having another blonde bombshell over there with what's her face?
Bliss,
No, well, yeah, but fake Charlotte. Um,
fake Charlotte.
yeah, the Marine.
She's not fake Charlotte.
She's not.
No, she's better than Charlotte.
No, she's not. But she's,
She
Lacey
whooped Charlotte's
Evans.
ass. See, okay,
Lacey Evans.
she whooped Charlotte's ass. If you put her, she's a damn Marine. Now, WWE scripted all day. Charlotte will win. You piss Lacey off. Lacey will mess. I almost said it again. Lacey will mess Charlotte up.
You are really punchy, man. Like you just want to start dropping them, and I've actually kept clean tonight. Like I've dropped
I
a
have
couple.
to. I haven't dropped them.
Now like we're PG-13, so you can drop some S bombs and some B bombs and some U bombs. I don't know, but um. So Chris Barrett says that Roman and Jay will basically come down to a reverse Sting situation.
What I mean,
Yeah, I'm not sure I fully understand what that means, but I do think that like I had mentioned, I think that Jay is going to, you know, I think that when you looked at the end of the tag team match where Jay looked strong because it looked like he was actually going to beat both Sheamus and King Corbin by himself. That
hmm
Roman came in and you knew that Jay had that match wrapped up, and then Roman tags himself in, spears him 1, 2, 3, gets the victory. But then Jay holds his arm up like this, and
and Roman snatches it.
Roman just snatches the belt from him, and he looks at him like who the
Not
hell
your
do you
time.
who the hell do you think you are grabbing my arm? Only one guy gets to grab my arm, and that's Paul Lee over here, right? Uh, and
Wobbly Wars.
yeah, so we're getting to that. We're getting to that. But like I like what they're doing with Jey Uso here. I think that besides his haircut, it's the best we've ever seen of him. Um,
Shut up.
dude, come on now. Like if you know what it looks like. I was thinking about this. It looks like it it really it looks like when you take a Lego and you get that little yellow head of the Lego and you pop just something on top of it. That's what Jey Uso's hair looks like now. It looks like he's got the little circle on top, and it's got
You're
it's
going
got
to
this little
hell.
piece that you can just pop on the top of his head. And what is that?
You were going to hell.
Like like if I were the WWE, I would have been like, Jay, we want to push you, but something's got to happen with this. Even your cousin,
Again.
just shaved his head when he realized that he didn't, that the pineapple top wasn't working. When The Rock realized that his hairline was up here, he just said, "Screw it, I'm gonna go stone cold. I'm gonna steal his gimmick," and he did it. He
I
even
was reading the chat. I'm sorry.
he even stole the goatee. Sting would come down with the bat as a loyalty test against the NWO. A loyalty test.
I remember that.
Roman is going to put Jay in a situation to test that loyalty. I don't think we'll see Jay come down from the rafters since they don't do that anymore in WWE. At the same time, I think you're right. It is a loyalty test, but Jay's going to prove that his Samoan pride is too strong, and it'll be really interesting as they start bringing people like Jimmy Uso in as to whether or not Jimmy will side with Roman or if Jimmy will side with Jay.
I think Jimmy will side with Jay, and I think you might be right. I didn't put two and two together when Joe wasn't there tonight. He might have got traded to SmackDown to either. You think that put him against Roman? Because that'd be a hell of a match.
Oh, I would love to see Samoa Joe actually beat the shit out of Roman, but
And take the title.
it's one of those situations though where I almost think that what's going to happen is everybody's going to be fed to Roman in these short matches, and it's really supposed to cement him as a guy who doesn't lose very often, and it pisses you off because it's going to be like Brock Lesnar. He basically is the new Brock Lesnar now that Brock Lesnar's contract is up.
Yeah.
You know, so
AJ, Hardy, and Sammy. You know this is going to go down the Clash of Champions. These three and go for that belt, and I bet you it'll be in a ladder match.
the sad thing about it is that this match is probably going to be a ladder match at Clash of the Champions rather than being what it should, which is three supremely talented wrestlers at WrestleMania going for the Intercontinental title. Like, I just, I'm in awe of what I mean. Jeff Hardy hasn't looked this good in years.
So you say play so you're saying play hot potato that title until WrestleMania? Because I don't think one person. Well, this is September. WrestleMania is what, April.
No,
So
it's not
somebody's
gonna.
going to hold that
It's
belt that
not gonna
long.
be hot potato, and that's the problem. And it's not even the problem. I would rather one guy hold on to it, or two of the guys hold on to their belts and just keep like get to the point where WWE can't figure it out. Pat Buck has to come out wearing his pink pants and sit there and tell you that like, we're gonna keep you two away from each other. We just can't, and both of you will defend your titles. And then finally at WrestleMania, it commences with Sami Zayn and whichever one has the other belt at that point. They finally put them together. Like, I would be like,
Oh, like Razor and Michaels.
yeah, except they're going to do it way too soon. They're gonna do it now. They're not gonna wait. They're just gonna put it together, and and it's gonna be like when CM Punk was gone for 2 weeks, and then he comes back, and they immediately put the belts together, and John Cena had it. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
nobody really remembers that Rey Mysterio is actually the one that won the title and then immediately lost it to John Cena that night. Like nobody
Nope.
remembers that. But you know, that's how Rey got his what second or third world championship. You know.
Yeah.
Um, but I love this three-way dance that they're setting up. I just it amazes me at how good they're doing, and like I said, I haven't seen Jeff Hardy look this good in years. Like he has really stepped up his game. Um,
You think he stepped up his game, or do you think the people? I mean, he's good. He's good. Or do you think that
well, even his matches against
the people
Sheamus
he's in the
were
ring with
solid.
are helping to carry? Huh?
But even his matches against Sheamus were solid. Like
Yeah.
he looks good right now. Like he seems motivated. Like I wonder if him and Matt get on the phone with each other and they go, "Oh yeah, what do you got planned this week? Because I got a three-way dance with AJ Styles and Sami Zayn, and you're sitting there with some dude named Sammy Guevara trying to kill you." Like you know, like I could picture that the two of them are conversing and saying, "Oh yeah, that's what you got? Okay, okay."
So they're trying to one up each other.
I think they might be. Like the competition isn't just necessarily on TV, but we've heard that some of these guys talk to each other and sit there and talk about like what's going on with them and everything else. So, oh, we got Katie Millard in the chat. Well. If it isn't if it isn't two of my favorite men, Katie,
Oh,
that's so sweet.
oh.
You just made a black man blush.
Wow.
I
That's
was
where
talking
you're
about
gonna go.
me. I was talking about me.
It's PG. I can't say what I was going to say. I had to keep it clean. It was right there.
Keep it clean,
Terrence will
y'all.
know what I was about to say.
Keep it clean, y'all.
Hmm.
All right. So, Tino, we're going to go ahead and get to the topic that everybody apparently has wanted us to discuss all night tonight. That's right.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite.
So go ahead and
Now, when they said they're going to introduce a new character, when they had the women's match, and Alexa did the Sister Abigail, and she just walked off, I'm like, okay, that's it. But that's not what happened. You had the Vince McMahon devil thing, which still cracks me up to this day.
well, but hold on. It wasn't just that though. Bray goes to introduce his new character, the Vulture, and
No, it wasn't the vulture. It was
well, it was a bird though.
it was a bird, like a parrot or something, a parakeet.
Oh yeah, it was supposed to be like a parakeet, and he didn't poke holes in the box, so the parakeet was dead, and that's what made uh, Mister Muscle Man come out.
Yeah. God, so Vince like, you're gonna have a new um whatever he called him. He's an advisor or whatever. And they they bring out this puppet, Wobbly Wars, in a suit, and you know exactly who it's supposed to be.
My name is Wobbly
Wobbly
Walrus.
Wars.
What the
That
question?
that
The
was
question though.
I was done. That was it. I was done.
The question though is who voiced him? Was it voiced by Bray Wyatt, or did they actually have Paul Heyman voice Wobbly
I think they
Walrus?
had Paul Heyman because that was a little too good. Now, while Bray, I think, does voice the other characters, I think that Paul Lee is enough of a professional, and I think he can take jabs and make fun of himself. So I think Paul Lee did that.
Who was it that originally called him the Walrus? I can't remember.
I think it was whether the King or it was either the King or JR.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yep.
But yeah, I want the Wobbly Walrus T-shirt, Tino.
I'm gonna get one.
You know it's coming.
I'm gonna get one.
Because they had the Mr. God, it's not Mr. What is it? It's Mr. It's not Mr. Muscle Man because the Muscle Man's the Husky Harris character.
The
The
pig
pig,
with the
yeah,
chocolate in his
yeah, the
mouth, and
chocolate
then
mouth.
there's the
But
buzzard.
but they do the
There's the
muscle, but
witch.
they do the Muscle Man dance.
Yeah, that was the pig.
Yeah, I can't remember what his name is now, but they actually put out a shirt where he's like, "That's good shit," except it's a like that's good stuff or something like, or that's real good shit or something like that. Like
Oh, he
that's
did say that's good.
that's
He
really
said,
good
"This is
shit.
good shit."
It's really good shit. So, um, interestingly enough, they put Alexa Bliss in the four-way match to determine the new number one contender for Bailey's championship, and I noticed that she came out in older gear, like this was like
With the hair.
early Alexa gear with the pigtails. Although obviously she's letting dreadlocks happen in her not in her beard. What are you doing?
It itches. I got to shave.
Oh, okay. You got to let it get to a length where it just doesn't itch anymore. But
Nah, it's too much gray. It's got to go.
yeah, you're just
I
you're just
told you,
all
I've been home a few days. I've been lazy.
you're just all salt, no pepper anymore.
All salt, no pepper.
But with Alexa, like I noticed as she took out the two others, Lacey Evans and Naomi. After she took the two of them out, Nikki was like climbing up onto the thing to dive off, and Alexa just kind of like nonchalantly like moved around until she finally got out of Nikki's way, and Nikki's like, "What is taking her so long?" And then Nikki dives off and does her thing. And then immediately when she gets up, that's when Alexa sits there and is like, "Hey, yeah, yeah, this is great, this is great." And then boom, Sister Abigail, and then they go to commercial. And when they come back from commercial, Michael Cole's sitting there saying, "And Alexa Bliss just walked up the ramp." Like, why didn't they?
And they showed her. They showed her like in a trance walking up the ramp.
Yeah. So,
So it's
as
supposed
what
she's
Chris Barrett
supposedly.
said though, I don't think they need to show Alexa Bliss. Um, See, Chris Barrett's getting another comment like held in for review. It says no, the puppet says shit. They just bleep shit. So, so we'll add that to the broadcast. Um, it, Chris Barrett says that the Firefly Funhouse is a way for them to bury people, but I don't think that it's a way to bury them. I think that it's what we feel as an audience, and they're allowing Rotunda to actually sit there and say it, like, and they're actually like taking our comments and making it real with that. Katie laughed at something, but I don't know exactly what she laughed at. Maybe it was the fact that we started getting pink in the cheeks. I'm not sure.
No, when you said that you made a black man blush, and I was going to say something dirty, and I couldn't because I had to catch it.
Oh, okay, okay. So, and Tino
I
now
will.
with SmackDown,
Why, Billy? Why?
we've got to ask the question: Why, Bailey? Why?
Because Karen is up. Yeah, I did get it. I did get it, Katie.
Was she sending you messages, or is
Read
that in
the
the chat?
fucking. Oh, excuse me. Read the chat.
You used your one. You
I
used
did.
your one.
I'm a grown ass man. I use as many as I want. I'm grown. I do what I want.
No, not tonight. You won't. but we got. I think I was talking to Terrence about it, that Bailey isn't even the best Karen, Tino.
She's close.
No, no, no. She's number two. Number
Who's the best?
one is Vicky Guerrero is the best Karen. She was
Excuse me?
she was a Karen before there was
Before
a
Karen
Karen.
was cool.
Like, she had the haircut. Like, I'll tell you right now, I've said it and I'll say it again. If Vicky Guerrero is working on a by performance deal with AEW, WWE right now needs to sign her and make her Bailey's manager tomorrow. That
Who Vicky?
yes.
No, she's Nyla's manager over at AEW.
I just said if she is working a per deal contract that they need to sign her to a long-term deal right now. I
But I don't think that she will. Because apparently the AEW contracts, they're more free to do what they want to do.
Well, sure,
Now,
but I think that Teddy Long's contract allowed him to do stuff outside. I think Mick Foley's contract allows him to do. I mean,
not with
hell, he's talking shit about the company right now.
not with other wrestling organizations though. I don't think they're going to let her be a
Well,
part of AEW
well, no,
and
no, no.
WWE.
She would not be allowed to work with AEW anymore. This is what I'm saying,
Uh,
Tino. Listen, okay? If
she's not,
she
and I'm
if
telling you, she's not
if
going to do
she
that.
is not under contract and she is working a per appearance deal, then do the old Rick Rude thing and have Vicky show up with a little bit more color in her hair on SmackDown 2 nights after she shows up on AEW and have her be the person that will take Bailey to the next level. And not even just take her to the next level, but be the mega Karen that we've already known Vicky Guerrero to be. Because
But does Bailey need that?
I think if you truly, truly, truly want to sell her to the audience the way that they're trying, obviously the haircut was good. Obviously turning on Sasha Banks was good. But what if she loses her title to Nikki Cross, for example, right? And she sits there and goes, "You all did this to me. So I needed to reach out to somebody that I know I can trust. So I'm going to bring her out right now. I'm going to bring out Vicky Guerrero." And then Vicky Guerrero comes down and starts doing the "excuse me" thing all over again because I think WWE actually owns that as a catchphrase.
She's still doing that on AEW.
Is she? I haven't heard her even speak on AEW.
Hmm.
I know that they did a bathing suit shoot between her and Nyla Rose, and
I haven't seen that, and I don't think I want to.
I'm gonna send it to you. It's gonna be like, "Hey Tino, check this shit out," and he's gonna click the button, and he's gonna be like,
No, I'm
"Oh,"
not.
he's gonna be like, "Oh." No, no, no. It's just gonna say, "Tino, check this shit out," and
I'm gonna go.
you're gonna be like, "Bitch, what did you send me?"
I'm gonna follow you to your day job and let all the air out your tires.
Don't you dare.
Don't you dare send me that shit. I'm like, this will show you, bastard.
Leaving the butter knife in my tire. So,
Sport.
so okay, I do want to actually talk about this heel turn finalization of Bailey here. I think that the way that they did it, they nailed it, right? They absolutely nailed it. And this week
But
they're gonna
she was, she's been heel ever since she dropped the hug gimmick.
right,
She's
right,
been
but
heel.
now you have her as the mankind heel and Sasha when she comes back as the Rock babyface or the Stone Cold babyface. Like that's the level they're hoping to get Sasha to with this, and they're gonna screw it up this week
Because she's coming back too early.
because she's coming back. If it's a live via satellite moment, okay, I think I can get past it. Like I don't know how long it's gonna be for me to be gone, but just so you know, Bailey, blah 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 blah. But it's way too soon. We still and the reason why is because it's I'm gonna take you on at Clash of Champions when no, she doesn't need to.
What I think is going to happen, what I'm claiming, what I'm predicting is going to happen is she will be a Clash of Champions, but I think she's going to cost Bailey that belt, and I think she's going to be the reason why Nikki wins it.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree, and we even said that last week. I think that it's going to be more for pride between the two of them than it's going to be for a championship because at this point they're bigger than the women's championship
Yeah,
and some other people kind of need that women's championship to keep the rest of the division moving in the
And
right direction.
honestly, I think if they have, because this is what Nikki's third time, if they have Nikki lose again, I think it's going to hurt Nikki.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. It's
They painted themselves in a corner, and they have to. I think they're going to have to give that to Nikki.
I'm
What?
reading the chat. Chris Barrett said Potsy went blind after seeing the Vicky and Nyla bikini spread.
That's why I told him not to send it to me.
it's, ooh. that's that's a good one, Chris Barrett. Um, all right, so Tino, you want to talk some Raw?
All right, let's do it.
So tonight they called it in your face Raw, and
I don't understand that.
well, I think it was because you know how they like to give a name to like different pay per views and stuff on top of just the name, like the one was the greatest wrestling match ever, you
This
know.
is the greatest show.
Exactly. I had to bring that back for you. Uh, and they keep doing that kind of stuff, like Money in the Bank is gonna be, whatever, and all of that. So I think tonight's In Your Face Raw was supposed to be a more um, wrestling heavy episode of Raw, and
Mhm.
and I guess it kind of was, but they also had at the beginning of the show Drew McIntyre and Keith Lee. In the middle of the show, they had Drew McIntyre and Keith Lee. Uh, at the end of the show, they had Drew McIntyre and Keith Lee, and then they had the match between Drew McIntyre and Keith Lee.
Which
And
I think was good because that they need more consistency like that throughout the show. That's something they've been lacking.
well, I think you're right. I think that when you go back to the more popular episodes of Raw, you always had multiple segments with your top people because that's what's going to garner you ratings, right? So like when Stone Cold was in the building and you knew he had a match at the end of the night or whatever, you still didn't know what the Texas Rattlesnake was going to do the rest of the episode. So it was like he would come down, he would sit there, give someone a stunner, he'd drink some beers, and he'd sit there and talk about Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass, and he'd do the head bobble, and then he'd head back up the ramp, and then later on he would sit there and come running back down, drink a couple more beers, give Spike Dudley the stunner, and you just kind of go with all that again, right? So obviously, then when The Rock became as hot as he did, they obviously would try to keep those two guys away from each other for the entire episode, but they would have multiple segments with them because they knew that those guys every time they were on TV would get ratings. The interesting thing about that is that back then we didn't care about overexposure of these characters either. We just cared about how often do we get to see Stone Cold Steve Austin do something cool.
I think they need to go back to that though, because like you said, that kept me watching. You know what I'm saying? That kept you from flipping the channels.
Yeah, no,
So I think they need to have that consistency throughout the show. I think that's the problem. Not only throughout the show, but that's what one week they've got this storyline going, and then the next week it's something totally different. Like they drop storylines like that. It's consistency.
Chris Barrett's got me laughing again because he just said if Raw wants ratings, bring in the big names who draw people like Kurt Angle. Sorry, you spelled it wrong, Chris. But Kurt Angle, like Ken Shamrock, like Brother
Brother love.
Love, and like Mick Foley. Mick Foley right now is on bad terms with Vince McMahon, I'm sure, because he's totally against McMahon not wanting to let these people use their own Twitch streams to make some side hustle money. Um, Brother Love actually does work for WWE now. He is the executive director of WWE and even made an appearance at Money in the Bank when they actually put the face paint on him and he showed up in the bathroom for some weird reason. But Yeah, exactly. Like, what's he doing? It's like, I love you. You know? Um, but Ken Shamrock, no, he's not coming back. Like, interestingly enough, Ken Shamrock actually says that the reason why he doesn't come back to the WWE is because they never invited him.
But he's on Impact now.
Yes, he is on Impact now. So, um, Tino, we talked about Keith Lee, we talked about Drew. Somehow, I think Keith Lee is going to get involved in the championship match at Clash of Champions, um, between Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, and now Keith Lee. And you and I already discussed, but we're gonna discuss these guys right now. Do we
Retribution.
care about Retribution?
I think we do.
Okay.
I think we do. Because I think that they are going to play a pivotal role. If the WWE does it correctly, they can play a pivotal role and like kind of like WCW did with the NWO. They can have this kind of internal war thing, and at the same time boost some of these undercards, freshen up some storylines, get some of these guys with some new faces and some new matches
See,
once they uncover them.
as much as I want them to do this thing where they're actually having new matches, the thing that they seem to always have an issue with is that they don't necessarily have the talent have new matches all the time. Like, ever since Kevin Owens and Aleister Black had that moment on the KO show, it's just been Kevin Owens versus Aleister Black every week. And
Right.
and all they'd have to do is sit there and say Dominic Mysterio is going to go up against Aleister Black this week, and then you could have Seth Rollins involve himself with the match somehow. Then you start
Oh wow.
involving all the different storylines and having different matches, different things going on, and you could actually like freshen up, um, you know, the underwear because it's yeah I said it. It's just it's stinky, man. Like when you have the same two guys wrestle each other week in and week out, it gets boring. Like I am tired of watching Dominic Mysterio versus Seth Rollins, so I'm hoping the main event of tonight's Raw, or it wasn't even the main event because Keith Lee versus Drew McIntyre technically I guess was, but
I
like
think
I hope that we're done with that now.
I had a thought about that. I think we're done with Dominic and Seth. I think we're turning to
Oh yeah,
now
it's so obvious.
Buddy is going to team with the Mysterios because I don't know if you noticed it,
Yes,
but
I noticed it.
everybody got in the ring. You know what I'm about to
I
say.
noticed it. Yes.
Everybody got in the ring, and then Aaliyah stopped before she got in the ring and kind of like touched him and looked at him and like rubbed his arm, and then she got in the ring. So are they going to start a little lovey-dovey thing with her and Buddy Murphy, and he's going to team with them now to take on Seth Rollins?
The question is, do they do Romeo and Juliet with it, and that's what causes Buddy Murphy to go babyface, because he's being consoled by a 17-year-old girl.
She's not 17. Calm down.
She's only 17.
Because think about it. 15 years ago is when they had that angle with Mysterio and Guerrero. She was at least 5 or 6 in that. So she's at least 2021. So she's of age. It's okay.
Chris Barrett asks, but didn't Shamrock even say that he would be open to show up on Raw Underground if they wanted him to?
Oh,
Uh,
damn.
I'm sure he did because Ken Shamrock wants a payday, and he would kill
They don't
me, but he wants a payday.
they don't want Shamrock on that underground because he would probably snap.
Yeah,
And
I'm a little surprised when it comes to Raw Underground that we actually haven't seen anybody injured that we've heard about yet. Like Riddick Moss, like after taking 3 big shots from Braun Strowman earlier tonight, I was kind of expecting that like they were going to start saying that Riddick Moss is out for a couple weeks with some sort of like head trauma because that dude got thrown around like a rag doll for a while.
And I knew your man was going to step up to Braun, but no, Shane stops it and says, "This is next week." I'm like, really?
Was it just me, or did it look like Braun wanted a little bit of Shano too?
Oh yeah. When Shane touched him, I kind of getting him off of Dolph, and he turned,
And what's up
and
with the
Shane jumped back.
what's up with the doorman not actually joining the underground, man? Like that
I
dude,
don't.
9 foot tall, jacked up mf'er, just sitting there
He's
like.
probably he's probably got bad knees. All somebody do is kick him in the knee, he'll be down. So he's like, "No, I'll stand at the door."
So speaking of bad knees, I heard a story this week from Tommy Dreamer, talking about Great Khali. You know,
Oh
I
God.
already mentioned earlier in the show about how Tommy Dreamer had actually said that he's never had surgery, right? Well, at one point in his career, he had a match against Great Khali. It was probably on ECW, and Khali, to get up because he had such bad knees, put his hand on the sternum of Tommy Dreamer to lift himself up, and Tommy Dreamer took him backstage and gave him a riot act and said, "I'm going to tell you right now, big man, I understand that you got bad knees, but if you ever use my chest to help yourself up again, I'm going to beat the shit out of you."
Oh my God.
And he's like it not only knocked the wind out of me, but I was afraid that he broke ribs. Like that's that when we were talking about sternums and stuff, Chris Barrett, there's a story for you.
Oh, I got to start. But Jake Snake told a story about Andre the Giant splashing him and was sitting on him, and he's just, oh. He goes, "Why are you laughing?" And I'm just like, "I'm farting." And he said, all of a sudden, he feel it. And Andre's just sitting on laughing, "I'm farting."
My favorite line, because I watched the Andre documentary on HBO. My favorite line from that, that's so funny. My,
He's just
my,
sitting there laughing, "I'm farting."
well, he was probably drunk as shit too, but you know, like my favorite line from the whole thing was about how he was supposed to go wrestle the Ultimate Warrior, and Ultimate Warrior loved putting baby oil all over his body before his matches because you know it would like glisten in the light and everything. And Hogan's telling this story, and he's like, "Brother, Andre hated baby oil. Like I don't know what it was, but he hated it." And Ultimate Warrior would just be caked in the stuff, and Andre be sitting there trying to put the match together before the thing, and he'd be like, "No baby oil."
Oh God.
And every time Warrior would wear baby oil, like Andre would just look at him and just slap him in the chest, like big hand, just boom across the thing. And we have all heard the story about how Warrior didn't want to take the big boot to the face or whatever. So he kept saying, "No, I'll clothesline you." And Andre didn't go down with the clothesline, and then he threw him back into the ropes again, and then he literally just put his foot out and knocked out the Ultimate Warrior.
Andre stories are the best, man.
They are, especially if you ever heard the ones from like Bobby the Brain Heenan. But that farting one, man, that's. Could you imagine like a 500-pound dude sitting on you and farting? Oh.
And Jake said when he got in the back, it's like as big as raspberry. Andre farted.
I've never seen a I've never seen a visible fart before.
He says, like, no, you go up to the kid, you go, do that. He said, "A big old raspberry." Andre just farted on him.
Where his butt cheeks were just rattling on him. So
I gotta send you that clip.
oh yeah, I would watch that. Um, so getting back to Retribution and Do We Care? Like I already said earlier in the night, you saw the weird going in and out video feed that they had, and it was obvious it was Dijakovic because he even mentioned NXT tonight,
Yeah,
or not NXT, but the Performance Center.
yeah.
Um, you could tell that the girl there was Mia Yim.
And one of them, the guys, I was looking at his eyes. I'm like, Is that Tommaso? I couldn't tell. I knew it wasn't Dexter. I'm like, I'm looking at to do with the eye. I'm like, she was kind of standing next to Mia, and I was like, that might have been Champa.
I mean, it's always possible that they used certain people, and then when we finally get to see them, they're nobody that we expected. Obviously, they did this thing where they kept showing like more and more of them in the background, and it's like how many people is this group going to be? Is this going to be like the LWO and the NWO and the red and the
Now,
black and the white and the black and the
when the Hurt Business offered to their services to um
Adam Pierce?
to combat retribution, but at the end when they came down and the the Hurt Business music played, here's my question: people started cheering. That blurs the line. Are the Hurt Business heels? Because they were cheering when the music hit and they came down to, because at first I thought, well, maybe they're in with retribution, but then they came down and they started swinging on them. Like, okay, but when they started cheering for the Hurt Business, are they heels? Are they face? Are they tweeners?
It's interesting because it looks like it's setting up for Survivor Series. Because Survivor Series is always Team Raw versus whatever, and this year maybe Retribution is Team NXT or whatever in that situation kind of thing.
Yeah,
Um, and having the Hurt Business do it. I almost thought when the Hurt Business was going to give their services to Retribution that Cedric Alexander all of a sudden was going to be the turncoat in Retribution. And the reason why I was kind of thinking that was because if you were to do that, it kind of makes Shelton's skepticism of
yeah.
Cedric even better, right? And now that they're kind of planting the seeds that the Hurt Business, like I thought it was interesting that MVP was down for commentary during Drew McIntyre's match, but when Retribution ran out, all of a sudden MVP was in the back, and he's bringing out all the guys from the Hurt Business wearing their suit coats and everything. Like
Mhm.
it's funny every time I see the Hurt Business come out in suits. I just want to hear Lemmy's music come on and start saying, "Evolution is a
Evolution.
mystery. No one in and no one sees." I just keep expecting evolution there.
No, evolution.
Oh yeah, it's evil. Well, that's because they were evil. So
I don't know. I thought this Lemmy was drunk when he recorded it.
Chris Barrett says in the chat, Retribution is going to end up like NWO, causing people to turn face no matter what, just to face them. And yes, that's exactly it. That goes with the Raw before all feel, right? Although it is interesting because Retribution seems to have forgotten about SmackDown, and they're only worried about what's happening on the main show now. And if I had to guess, it's because SmackDown suddenly is doing okay in the ratings again. And I say okay, they're not doing great, but they're doing okay.
No.
And the WWE knows that they've got to do something to combat against the NFL. And the NFL started this week, Tino, so it's going to be really interesting to see those first Monday Night Raw ratings come in after the whole NFL
Well,
package.
they need to do something to keep people uh, interested in stuff. So I don't know if that's why they, because if you notice, Retribution's not on SmackDown anymore. They're pretty much just hanging out on Raw. So that's why I'm wondering if they're going to start pulling people in. If this is going to help them combat Monday Night Football. They're going to try to, you know what I mean? They're going to try to do something.
Well,
They
that,
might
that's
even take
that's
it.
what I
Like I
was
said,
just
they might take
saying.
a page out of WCW book and make an NWO thing going.
I mean, they will, but what made the NWO so successful?
Hall and Nash,
And
Hogan.
so the top three guys, the three highest paid guys on your entire roster, were the baddest dudes on the planet at that point, right?
But so
And then on top of that, they were also three outsiders who they ended up calling themselves the outsiders at that point because they were all WWF guys in WCW. So unless they're going to take the lower rated NXT show and start saying that those guys are more important and top guys, like I don't know how they can do that
Unless
unless some of these folks end up being the ones that were fired and they actually have a good mouthpiece. And right now, I don't really see them having a good mouthpiece.
unless like I said, so there's two reasons they could have taken Joe off commentary. He could be going to SmackDown for Roman, or he can be because it what you said a couple of weeks ago still stuck with me because Joe said my sources tell me that Retribution da 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 da. How come Joe's the only one that knows what's going on with Retribution? So that leads, so he could be that top Hogan or Nash or Hall
Yeah, but
in that group, one of the guys.
so let me put it this way though. If you put Joe, a two-time NXT champion, against anybody on Raw, Joe's got a chance, right? We think that Joe's a top guy. But then you put Joe with a bunch of mid carders or worse from NXT, and the whole thing goes to shit. Like I don't know how far they've thought into this process, but if Retribution isn't, I'm okay with it being Joe because Joe has the ability to deliver the promo, deliver the match, and deliver the goods, right?
But they're going to need somebody strong. They're going to need Champa. They're going to need Dijakovic. I
Well,
even give you Mia Yim.
well, I would say that when you're looking at everybody, that you gotta have if you're gonna make it a faction that's NXT, but then also have them on NXT, and then also there because you can't deplete the entire NXT roster and put them on Raw as a collective because then you're just screwing NXT. And while that's something that Vince will do to get ratings on Raw and not give a damn about NXT
I don't think Triple H should stand for that.
unless people from Raw start showing up on NXT to get retribution on retribution. Um, I would think that the only names in NXT that would make the die-hard crowd sit there and jump all in would be if you said the Undisputed Era is part of Retribution, if Ciampa's part of Retribution, Johnny Gargano's part of Retribution, and Dijakovic's part of Retribution. Now with the women, you could have Candice LeRae, you could have Mia Yim, you could have whomever you want. The NXT women's division we've already proven is superior to almost all the other women's divisions in pro
They
wrestling.
just they just need Ripley. That's all they would need. Put Rhea Ripley. Put
Yeah,
I would even say put who's she fight? Mercedes
Mercedes
Martinez.
Martinez. Here's the problem with that: you ruin every feud that you've got going on NXT if all of a
Yeah.
sudden they're all in the same group together, right? Now
Yeah.
that's worked in the past when you brought up the Shield.
What
you had Seth and Ambrose fighting each other.
what about Charlotte?
Why would she be in Retribution?
That's that star power you need.
Well, I mean, I'd be okay with it. Chris Barrett says Hogan didn't make
Seth
sense.
Rollins.
Didn't make the NWO. It was Hall, Nash, DDP, and Sting.
Did
Chris,
you see the Seth Rollins thing he said?
no, what did he say? I can see
He
Seth
said he could
Rollins
see
leaving.
Seth Rollins if he
Doesn't
wasn't about to go out. That'd probably be a good idea, but I think he's getting ready to go probably the next couple of months on paternity leave. So if he came, he wouldn't. He would start it, but then he would be gone.
I mean, it's a good thought. It's definitely something that you could get behind. The question though is like I think you have to look at who's still part of WWE that has not been seen in a while that could
Charlotte.
that could be part. Well, sure, she's nobody knows exactly why she left for some elective surgery. Um, so yeah,
Who else has been gone?
that's Bobby Roode. You know, and right now I'm actually wondering whether or not Bobby Roode is actually still under contract because somebody Chris Barrett says Natalia. No, unfortunately, Natalia's never going to get the
Pushed.
the retribution that she should. Like she's never going to. She's a Heart Foundation kid, and because of that, Vince McMahon, no matter whether or not he says he holds a grudge or not, when it comes to Bret Hart, he holds a grudge against that Hart family for whatever reason, and as such, you're never gonna see Natalia get her just dues. Although she probably will end up being in the Hall of Fame someday. I mean, she the longevity that she's got and everything else, she's kind of earned it. But besides that, I don't know. I see them using her going into the Hall of Fame as a way to get Bret Hart to show up and give the speech.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of who could be in this from NXT, or you said people who've been released. Everybody's been released is pretty much AEW, Impact. They're gone.
Yeah, I mean they are, but how many of them are actually working short-term contracts, long-term contracts, or whatever? I personally think that someone like Nick Aldis, who is still holding the
NWA
NWA
champion.
World Championship, would be able to walk in the door and suddenly have you go, "Oh shit!" Right now,
They
especially
brought
since
Wade Barrett back.
well, they did, but they didn't bring him back as a wrestler. Now, what if all of a sudden he came back and he was the mouthpiece? Like, I'd buy that. What if they started bringing back some of the old Nexus guys? But they've
What if
already they've
what,
already kind of said we thought training at the performance center was going to get us this, this, and this.
Here's my thing. What if? Well, I know they're bringing back the UK,
Sure.
right? So what if they
Ooh.
bring a couple of you? What if they bring Walter?
Ooh.
Somebody like
What if
Walter.
what if it was Imperium? I'd be okay with that. Now, you'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with that. But would it get ratings? And I think
Yes, because
I don't
I
think
do
so.
believe people.
I'll tell you why. Because only die-hard wrestling fans watch NXT UK.
I don't even watch NXT UK, but I know who Walter and I know who
But you
Walter and
just proved it. You don't watch them. They have a show. They're actually going to create a new tournament for the secondary title in the NXT UK, and you know, today was the first day I heard about it, and it's supposed to start this week.
what about some of these 205 lies guys?
Who said that?
I said that
What about them?
they could come up in the retribution. Maybe a couple of those guys.
Unless you're gonna have Enzo Amore as one of the talking guys of it, no.
Yes, Enzo.
Could you imagine Enzo
Bring
and
Neville back.
Cass coming back as part of that?
Oh, oh, you can't teach that.
You can't teach that. I don't think so though. I think that he wore out his welcome. As much as Vince was a fan of his, and even though in Times Square he was able to sit there and
Ooh, Brian Kendrick. You see Chris Barrett?
why would it be Brian Kendrick?
The Brian Kendrick?
Oh,
Come
oh,
on.
maybe it's Paul London. Maybe it's Billy Kidman. Shut up. Come on.
See,
Those guys don't get heat, man. That's the thing. Oh, is it going to be Lance Storm? As much as I love Lance Storm in the ring, remember, Steve Austin thought it was a good idea to tell everybody to call him boring because that was going to get him over.
now you're just being mean. It's getting late and you're just turning into an asshole.
No, I'm being real. Like you need to have names that are good. Like I thought that one of the guys tonight kept going like this. Now, what is this?
Maybe a take on that.
But what is this?
I don't know. That's the devil horns.
It's not the devil horns. This right here is the love symbol, and it's the symbol that Jimmy Superfly Snuka did on his way to the ring.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So one of them kept doing this in the ring the whole time. Not this, but this. And
Well, maybe it was Snooker's kid. Maybe it was Deuce
maybe it was, but at the same time,
or Tamina.
He also kind of looked like X-Pac.
See, Chris agreed with me. Tamina.
It was not Tamina that was doing it. Although Tamina was actually, it wasn't Naomi, it was Tamina in that match, the 4-way dance. This past Friday. My bad. My apologies for that one. Yeah, no, I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything else when it comes to it, Tino. Like I am as equally interested to figure out who it is, but the problem with us trying to figure out who it is that ultimately we're going to be disappointed by who it ends up being, and the reason why is because we have such high hopes for who it turns out to be.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to say, oh, it's CM Punk. Because I don't want it to be CM Punk. I want CM Punk to ride off into the sunset with those checks he never cashed. I want him to do that. And at the same time, yes, that would be over the top and be like, well done. But at the same time, I think that right now, the best we can get is Samoa Joe as the leader.
Yeah.
Now I could be wrong. There could be one or two guys that I could not be thinking of at this moment that all of a sudden you go, oh shit, I didn't know he was a free agent and they signed him. Know what I mean? So.
What's my man's Tyson, the boss?
Tyson Fury?
Yeah.
Tyson Fury, if they bring him back, they should bring him back for Raw Underground.
It wouldn't, and Chris Baird just said it wouldn't be Punk, but what if it was?
I don't want to think about what it could have, should have, only because, again, when we find out who it is, we're going to be disappointed. Like we probably should give up on trying to figure out who actually is the leader and the group, because the more we try to figure it out, the more disappointed we're going to be when it turns out being Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel.
Yeah. You better believe. You better believe.
You better believe. That's right. That's right. Tino, why don't you try to take us out tonight?
Yeah, I'm tapping.
Yeah, why don't you try to tell everybody who we are and what we're all about?
Well, you can find that knucklehead. He's going to be on Instagram at Podcheck. He's going to be on Twitter.
I'm not at Podcheck on Instagram.
What do you? I said Twitter. Oh, I did say Instagram. What are you, Rob Podcheck on Instagram?
I'm Rob Podcheck on Instagram and right here on the YouTube.
Yeah, let me check that out. Oh, yeah, this is true. He is at Podchat on Twitter. My Instagram is SC Tino. You can catch me on Twitter at HoodieFan91. You've got a whole bunch of what's your Twitch handle?
Rob Potsy Podcheck. You can actually see that right from where it says subscribe and follow the show.
Well, yeah, I don't have that screen in front of me here, sir. So, as always, we want to say thank you to Adam's House Cat for our theme song, the wrestling song. You buy it on iTunes for 99 cents. And as always, we can hear Ric Flair in that big house on the hill in Charlotte, North Carolina. And he is saying, woo! Thank you, everybody. Chris, Barrett. We want to the Billings are in the house. We want to say thank you to Terrence. Katie, she's going to bed by now. I think she tapped out. Everybody that was in the chat with us, everybody who's come on and played with us and had a good time, we want to say thank you. We appreciate it. We will see you next week. We love you. Until then, good night. Woo!